My life was running pretty smoothly. I just treated myself to my dream car, a brand new electric vehicle, and had a level 2 charger professionally installed right in my driveway. No more gas stations. No more standing around in line. I'd plug in before bed and wake up to a full battery every morning. It was effortless. It was perfect. Well, almost perfect. There was one minor annoyance. My nosy neighbor, let's call her Karen, had been shooting daggers at me ever since the installation crew packed up and left. She stood on her porch that whole afternoon, watching every wire they ran. I brushed it off. Some people just don't like change. Then one morning, I walked outside and noticed my car wasn't fully charged. That was odd. I checked the app. It showed the charger had been disconnected for several hours overnight. I frowned. Maybe I hadn't pushed the connector in all the way. Maybe it didn't click properly. That night, I made absolutely sure. I listened for the solid click. Watched the green indicator light flash. Everything looked normal. The next morning, same issue. Partial charge. Now it wasn't just odd. It was suspicious. Then my electricity bill arrived, and my jaw practically hit the floor. It was nearly double the usual amount. There was no way my normal charging habits explained that spike. That's when it clicked. Someone was using my power, and there was only one person it could be. Instead of storming over and starting a neighborhood war, I decided to gather proof. One night, I parked my car across the street, where I had a clear line of sight to my driveway. I turned off the lights and waited. It didn't take long. Around 2 a.m., Karen's front door creaked open. A shadowy figure stepped out in a bathrobe, glanced around, then tiptoed across her lawn and into my driveway. I watched in disbelief as she unplugged my car and plugged in her own EV. She was treating my private charger like a public station. I was furious, but I also knew that confronting her without evidence would lead to nothing but denial and shouting. I needed undeniable proof. The next day, I went to an electronics store and bought a small, discreet security camera. I mounted in a tree overlooking my driveway, perfectly angled to capture any late-night activity. I synced the app to my phone and tested the live feed. That night, I went to bed with a grin. The trap was set. At 2:15 a.m., my phone buzzed with a motion alert. I opened the app. There she was, clear as day, Karen in a fuzzy bathrobe, casually unplugging my car and connecting hers. I watched her movements, relaxed, confident, completely shameless. My blood boiled. I recorded everything. The next morning, I marched over to her house, phone in hand. I rang the doorbell, feeling a strange mix of anger and satisfaction. She opened the door. "Morning, Karen." I said evenly, "We need to talk about my electricity bill." She crossed her arms immediately. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Oh, I think you do," I replied. I held up my phone and played the video. The color drained from her face. She stumbled over her words. First denial, then excuses, then weak justifications. But high-definition video doesn't lie. She was caught. I gave her two options. She could reimburse me for every dollar of electricity she'd stolen, plus a little extra for the inconvenience, or I would take the footage to the police and the Homeowners Association. The possibility of public embarrassment did the trick. She hurried inside, returned with her checkbook, and wrote me a check on the spot. The amount made my eyebrows rise, but it was fair compensation. Still, I wasn't finished. I wanted to make absolutely sure this never happened again. I ordered a locking mechanism designed specifically for EV chargers, a simple device that secures a connector in place and requires a key to remove. It wasn't expensive, but it was worth every penny for peace of mind. When it arrived, I installed it immediately. That night, as I plugged in my car and snapped the lock into place, I felt a wave of satisfaction. Later, curiosity got the better of me, so I checked the camera feed again. Right on schedule, Karen emerged from her house. She crept toward my driveway, reached for the charger, and tried to unplug it. She tugged once, twice, then harder. For a full 5 minutes, she wrestled with the lock connector, growing visibly more frustrated by the second. Eventually, she gave up and shuffled back home in defeat. It was the sweetest victory imaginable. The next morning, I saw her leaving for work. I gave her the biggest, friendliest wave I could manage. She shot me a glare and peeled out of the driveway, likely headed to a public charging station, where she'd actually have to pay. And that was that. A little strategic thinking and a sturdy lock solved the problem. My driveway is my property. My charger is my property. And my electricity is definitely my property. Lesson learned, Karen. So here's the takeaway. If you got a home EV charger, invest in a lock. You never know who might see your private setup as a free-for-all. And a small security camera doesn't hurt either. Protecting your investment is protecting your peace of mind. As they say, good fences, or in this case, good locks, make good neighbors. Or at least they stop the bad ones from stealing your power. Since then, everything's been quiet. My electricity bill is back to normal. My car is fully charged every morning. And I haven't had a single late-night visitor. Karen and I don't speak anymore. And honestly, I'm perfectly fine with that. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope you found it entertaining, and maybe even a little helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.